Well, wouldn't you know, it's a little windy. Just put the Opel video out saying I want a motor, and a guy messaged me, had a car with the motor I want in it, and literally dropped it off within 6 hours of me putting the video out. So this is the first car ever that Danielle has been happy about getting dropped off. Doesn't run with 4 flat tires. Look at this thing, 83-ish maybe, T-Bird with the turbo and a 5-speed. Now, we're definitely helping out the neighborhood, but we're literally just going to push this thing back with a bucket and hope for the best. Get her next door. Huh? So we attempted pushing, but this thing has no front tires. Well, they're all flat, so it's just pushing real bad. So she's just going to tow us around, and we'll push it back into the other garage. Wow, it's been a while since I've driven a car with 4 flat tires. What a joke. Old Bobcat's really putting in work. Oh, hang on. Got a sweet hose you gotta take care of. Yeah, go more straight. There you go.
Like, we don't care what happens to the body, right?
So this is the motor, well, this is the setup I was after. So I don't know if these are the same or not as the Mustang SVOs, but 2.3, look at this little itty bitty turbo, and it's got a 5-speed. So this should be pretty much perfect for that car. It's quite a small motor. We might have to move the turbo. I'm not too sure how that'll go. It's got air conditioning, which we're going to delete, power steering, which we're going to delete. So it's a small, compact little setup. I did put a battery in this thing, and this is my first 4 I've ever had, so I'm pretty sure I've watched the old Peg at zip ties to this a few times. You just jumper it, it's out of gear. So it rolls over, it's free, there was oil in it, I checked. Let's, it wouldn't start with the key, that's the first thing I did, and it did nothing. So maybe with the key on, in neutral, we'll see if it'll fire up. I don't know if there's any gas or nothing. Oh yeah. I think there's no gas. Maybe we can spray something in the intake and see if it'll cough to life. All right, so I cranked it over. There was no fuel pressure, so I think obviously a fuel pump is one of our culprits. So let's go ahead and just a little bit of brake clean. See if that'll fix our problem. We got the key on. Again, it won't start from inside. Maybe it could be a safety thing or whatever. Contact. Well, it does something. Of juice. So it made noise. It's hot out today. Obviously we got a fuel pump issue. I wonder if I could, what we can do there. It'd be nice to have it actually run and see what happens, but that's a pretty big win. I gotta Google a fuel pump on this thing where it is. So I put a half jerry can of fuel in there, but I noticed when I was underneath it, the fuel tank's a little crunchy, and that's obviously it was field moved at some point. Don't feel bad. It's a rough car to be taken apart. Oh, I wonder what rear ends in this thing. Huh. Anyway, I put a little bit of gas in. well, it still seems pretty empty, but I don't think it's leaking anywhere. I don't hear a fuel pump, but we'll try our luck. Give her a little list to get her started. Maybe it'll pick up. I'm confident. I'm not very confident. It does run nice.
She wants to go.
Well, it's just not getting no fuel. The intake is facing the wrong way to feed it. And this little fuel pressure thing, nothing. I think we got a dead fuel pump. You know, old Fords of this vintage, they used to have a crash protector thing.
Of this vintage?
This might actually be too old for it, but I know the Crown Vics and whatnot, I think, had them. Sounds good, no knocks. I'm gonna call that a win.
Woohoo!
Let's pull it apart. Okay, it's the next day, and we dragged this thing around last night, and I put up on stands, and I pulled the wheels and took them into work today to put some junk tires on. I had two 14-inch tires, and then there was two there that a customer had their tires slashed, and I just plugged the sidewall, so that's extra safe. So we'll put those on the back so when they blow up we won't crash, hopefully when we go for a test drive. So it's up in the air. Yesterday we checked, it had the inertia switch, the fuel pump relay, all that was going. Just today I was under there clicking the key, well Danny was clicking the key, and I was checking we have power at the fuel pump. It is just not pumping. Now believe it or not, I had one of these in stock. Now these, I know I'm shocked too, but who doesn't have an 83 turbo fuel pump, whatever. So this isn't the exact one for this car, but this right here I was going to put on a Atomic EFI that had a fuel pump that died. So these mid-80s, I guess Mustangs, trucks, stuff like that have this style external pump, high pressure for a fuel injection. So fuel goes in there, it has like those duckbill style connectors. Man, it's been a while since I've worked on this stuff. And put one on, I'll be able to put one on each end, and then it's just gonna have one's power and one's negative. I don't know if it matters, maybe, oh yeah, positive, negative. We'll hook it up and it should, in theory, pump fuel. And then if it pumps fuel, we already know it does run, so it should idle. The only thing that's not working is the key, but we'll deal with that later and see where we go. But if it has brakes enough to stop, and if the clutch works, I like to take this thing just for a little drive around the block before we strip it right down to nothing. So, man, these revive and drives are way easier at home when you have all the parts. Alright, so together I went and grabbed a jerry can of fuel because I was trying to kind of key it over a little, and it had like a, I don't know, it sounded like there was no fuel in it. So I'm gonna, sounds better now. We'll do this like 87 times. The fuel smells bad. And do I have my little, yeah, I have this hooked up. Is the key on? Not being able to start this thing with the key, it's a pain. Alright. Oh, I also pulled the boot off the turbo. It does spin, so it's not seized at least. And I put the little boot back on. I don't know where any of the clamps went. Oh, there's one. We'll see what happens. Well, that was almost like boring. It's so quiet. She's hitting on all of them. It sounds okay. What do we got going on? 155. We're going up. Oh yeah, a little hotter. 190. 200. Oh, that's fast. It is friggin' hot today. This one's not too happy. It seems like almost might be missing a little bit. Huh. What if that one's not hitting? Time to do a little investigation. So I checked for spark. It had spark. I let it run just for a bit, and all of a sudden it picked up an idle. So I think let's just have a sticky injector. Now this thing's picking up a little bit of heat. Obviously not the same as the other one. 300. So it's still kind of blah blah blah. I mean, I'm thinking some new fuel through it. Obviously it's a tune-up and all that, but it runs enough now. It doesn't have any huge knocks. There's no oil pressure light. I think it's fine. There's coolant in it. We'll let it get up to temperature. A temperature. I don't know if this thing, it's got a cooling fan on. We'll see if it kicks on or not. We'll be monitoring it. I'm just going to put the wheels back on. The exhaust is broken in the center, dragging on the drive shaft, so I'm going to hopefully rip that out. As long as it has brakes, we'll see if the wheels spin, and maybe we'll take it for a little test drive around the block. It's so melodramatic. It's just quiet and not obnoxious, didn't even smoke. Hey, I'll smoke a little bit, I guess. Not bad. Well, the old girl's definitely coming on and off 3-4 cylinders, so I assume it's number one. It's not happy, so either a bad injector or wire, I don't know what. But anyway, figured I'd show you how rotten this thing is for all the Thunderbird purists barbecue me for destroying this poor car. So, first of all, look how weird this is. Got like these dual shocks and stuff like that. But it's underneath. Actually, we have a fuel leak because the fuel tank has been KO'd. But like, look at this. This is all structural kind of stuff. She's no good. Exhaust all hanging up. The floorboards are rotten right out of the back. So it's no longer a savable car in my mind. I mean, I guess if you want to go ahead and fix that, you could, but what a pile of work. This thing's barely hanging together. So we're going to put the wheels on, put it in gear, see if they spin by its own power, not just by rolling it. Then if that works, then maybe we'll see if it'll drive on 3 cylinders. Alright, you guys are sitting on a small block Chevy as an engine stand, so let's just see if it'll, the wheels will turn. Look at that. Reverse. And reverse. Second gear. Third gear, fourth gear, yeah, fifth, look at that. This thing's a real gem. Let's drop down, take it for a ride. So Danny's having a little bit of a fit. There's a few rat turds on the floor, 1 or 2, but it's running bad. It's kind of coming and going on that 1 cylinder, but it's definitely injector related. So either injector, wiring, or hopefully not the computer, because that'd be bad. But got her down on the ground. It rolled. It has brakes. We got the little Mickey Mouse starter switch kind of going. I put a little blanket down for Danny. It reeks like old fuel, but yeah, we'll go for a little drive around the block, make sure it runs and drives, and then start stripping it at some point. It's all about stripping. Ready?
Put
Floor
this
mat?
down too.
So it's definitely
I was recording.
It's definitely got a bit of a miss, but it makes cool turbo noises. This thing, it says it's got 609 kilometers on it, but it only has 5 rungs. So I'm assuming it's got 106 or 100,006. So that's whatever. This thing's a little greasy in. It runs. We have about 4th, 5th. exhaust is falling right off. what a shit box. It's definitely got a miss though. That one cylinder is not happy, but it seems to do its thing. There's no gauges telling us anything is bad. It does have a turbo light that goes on when you give her a little bit.
Low fuel.
Yeah, well, it's leaking fuel. Not just low, but low and leaking. So we'll get her back home. I might do a little more screwing around with that one, maybe pull that one injector out and just see if we can kind of get it cleaned up or test it. Maybe we can pull it out and just see if it's shooting or not, and then go from there. But it runs well enough that I think we can kind of deal with it at a future date. And the fact that it comes and goes makes me think it's just unhappy. A little bit of old fuel or something like that in. I don't know anything about injectors, but it would make sense they kind of be like a carburetor. Let's back up to this fine gentleman. It's too bad it's not running on all four. We really bag on it, but I wonder if that whistling noise will pick up on. It runs on a jam at 4,000 RPM for some reason. And the exhaust is falling completely off. I don't know what the deal is with that. Yeah, wide open throttle, it's not happy. Oh well. I think it's gonna be a fun little hot rod. It's got all the gears. I'm looking for a mirror, even though it doesn't have one, and I can't see out the back. Runs good enough for me. We'll play with that one cylinder, call her a day. But there you go. We found a motor. So this is hilarious. Within, I don't know, 5 or 6 hours putting that video up, somebody had tracked me down, said they had one local for a reasonable price. And we had the exact motor and transmission and all that stuff that we want. So now, strip it. I'll start selling some junk off this thing if I can, the interior or whatever. Hopefully end up flush on it. Motor and trans for free. Get rid of the whole carb strap. Life's good. Thanks for watching. Subscribe below, let me know what you think. Hopefully you guys are into the 2.3 liter Ford turbo. You know, these motors are called Limas. You got a Lima motor in your Opel. Alright, see you in the next video. I know I said I was done here, but, well, it got the best of me. I want to do a quick compression test. It had maybe 145, 150 on the one cylinder. It wasn't hitting. So I think that's probably fine. Anyways, I pulled the plug out, and it was a little wet. I was like, huh. Then I noticed, the wire broke. So that may in fact be my problem. It's a little bit intermittent where it would kind of, you know, arc and then knot and do whatever it was doing. So I'm going to see if I can fix this, see if it runs any better. Otherwise, I'm concluding it's a bad injector, and I can live with that until a later date. Alright, you guys ready for this? The key is on. Fuel pump's primed. I'm confident. Oh yeah, that's way smoother. Let's go for a ride around the block real quick. Okay, well it's running much better. Almost like it's running 25% better. Unfortunately, we're gonna drive into the sun, and I don't have my magnet thing to hold the camera. Look at that. We're into the boost. Still needs a little bit of love, but I'm gonna call it way better than it was. It makes the cool turbo noises. Woo! So she's a runner. I'm happy with it. This headliner is absolutely ridiculous in my hair. Do a little downshift. Oh yeah. So there we go. We got a runner. I'm headed home. I'm ending the video. Now I'm actually done. Leave me a comment below. I'm ready to strip this thing down. Man, it's so bright. Thanks for watching.